goddamn yes, Twisted Metal has been renewed for a third season, and I am no end of excited about it. It was just announced. However, one thing that did get announced, which I'm a little worried about, is that they've announced that Michael Jonathan Smith, the showrunner, will not be back for the third season. And usually when a show swaps out showrunners, the show tends to go to shit afterwards. Looking your way, Scott Buck. Anyway, the showrunner who is taking over is someone who's worked on The Boys, and of course, The Boys is a very highly rated show. And I know that show is coming to an end, so at least this guy can focus on that. Rhett Weiss and Paul Wernick are still on board as executive producers, so hopefully the ship will still be smooth sailing and maybe even carry on with a lot of things that Michael Jonathan Smith did for the show. So, because I was waiting to do this when I heard the outcome of whether or not it got canceled or renewed, I want to bring you all the things that I would love to see, I'm theorizing that we're going to see, or just things that would just be fun just for mere fan speculation of the things I would love to see in Twisted Metal Season 3. Now, to do this, I'm going to be getting into full spoilers, so if you have not watched Twisted Metal, it is on Peacock. It's 22 episodes, most of them pretty much being like a half an hour apiece. It is a really quick watch. I binge it all the time. Check that shit out. It's a fucking amazing show. But here are the things that I would love to see in Season 3. Firstly, returning characters. A lot of characters that were alluded to coming back at the end of Season 1, and even some that have an in to come back in Season 2. But at the end of Season 1, you had Twister and Flower Power not in a great state and vowing revenge. On who, I have no idea. I guess the insiders, I don't know. But it would be nice to get some kind of where are they now? Find out what's going on with them. Are they going to be among the people who want to turn in John and Quiet, or are they going to be their allies? Who knows? We'll see. They have every reason to turn them in. I mean, the last time they helped it resulted in a bunch of convoys getting destroyed and Flower Power getting injured. So who knows? Other characters from Season 1 I'd like to see, just for the sake of more screen time, characters like Pit Viper, Pizza Boy, Mr. Slam, all of them were shown in Season 7, or Episode 7, Season 1, and it would be fun to see them get more screen time. Pit Viper in particular, because in the game she's a bounty hunter, and it would be very apt, the idea that she ends up getting hired on to hunt down John and Quiet. Another one who I personally think is still alive, just because I watched the episode again and I saw that she took the axe right in the corset over her chest. I'm like going, if anyone's ever worn a corset knows that shit, there's padding in that shit. I think Bloody Mary is still alive, and I wouldn't be surprised if she'd be raring for some vengeance. But another character from Season 2, which I would love to see again, because there is an in, because Calypso did steal all the souls from him and dunk it in his little well. Sure, the corporeal body is dead, which may mean we may never see Richard DeClercq again in the role, which is a shame. But I don't believe this is the last we've seen of Mr. Grimm. If it is true that he is the Soul Reaver that the show has beautifully teased us to be, we may not be done with him. But speaking of characters I know for a fact we are not done with, Dollface and Axel. It has been confirmed, both of them, at the end of Season 2, it was confirmed that both of them are indeed still alive. But one thing that never got a chance to be explored for reasons, there was a connection that was kind of forming between Dollface and Axel. So, one of the major arcs of the season could be that they reunite, and both of them, because they are basically broken people who have kind of lost their humanity, it would be actually very compelling to see the two of them form their connection over the fact that both of them consider themselves broken and that they have lost any semblance of humanity that they once had. That would be very compelling, and it would also be a great basis for a relationship between two people like them. So hopefully that's one thing we'll see from that. But by extension, it's very clear that Dollface has probably lost a lot of her memory, and when she meets John Doe, it would make for a fun juxtaposition, given the fact that when John met Dollface, he couldn't remember her. So it's going to be fun to think of the idea that now she can't remember him, and he has to reassert her memory of him. So that could be a fun little juxtaposition. Meanwhile, on Quiet's side, with all of the insiders now outside and gunning for revenge against them, it would be kind of great to see Quiet get her revenge against the OC colonies, because they done her dirty, and I think it'd be apt if she got a really good revenge from them. Dollface gunning for revenge against Calypso. Now, in Twisted Metal, now as we know, and many people have not been happy about this, we find out that Minion is in fact Dollface. Minion is the big bad from the first game and was a recurring character all throughout. It's kind of like a big muscle boss character. But in Twisted Metal 2, Minion became a playable character and was gunning for revenge against Calypso. Come on. This is a perfect time to do that. So Dollface, after reasserting her identity, decides to get revenge on Calypso. Now, it's Dollface, so it would be cool if she got into the big rig and became Darkseid, or gets into that APC finally, because I know a lot of people were pissed about that, but she gets in the APC and either way goes on a big revenge bid against Calypso. That would be freaking awesome. So yeah, next up, Kelly's Awakening. It has never been confirmed. Kelly is indeed still alive, but still in a coma. But it would be kind of twisted to think that after Raven has now died, Kelly wakes up and realizes that, oh my God, my best friend has turned into a monster, and it was all because she was desperate to wake me up. So it would be kind of fun to see her arc, the idea that maybe she sees everything, see how bad the world has gotten, and maybe even kind of sees things from a different perspective, which would really be fascinating. I like that. Wake Kelly up, because that would be kind of cool. Now, speaking of the insiders versus the outsiders, all-out war, or is it? Calypso dropped a little bit of a sinister hint, the idea that he has this whole thing planned, something he's got grand schemes for. So what we think could be all-out wars between the insiders versus the outsiders, could it be all part of a big plan of Calypso's to maybe initiate what he considers to be the next leg of the Twisted Metal contest? He has been talking about all-out war all around the world, basically a big old world tour. The world will be my battleground. Could what this be the springboard for that big world tour that he's gunning for? We don't know. We'll see, but that's my theory. Meanwhile, we got Mayhem. Mayhem is an original character that was created for the show, but a lot of fans have speculated that this might be a key character from the games. A lot of people believe that she is, in fact, Calypso's daughter, a vital character in the games, who drove the vehicle Grasshopper. So a lot of us believe that Mayhem could very well be Grasshopper, and that she just hasn't ascended to that level yet. So the idea that Mayhem could become Grasshopper and may in reality be Calypso's daughter, that's too juicy to pass up. So we'll see. Next up, we got the big reveal at the end of season 2 that Charlie Kane, Sweet Tooth's father, is still very much alive. The driver of the taxicab Yellow Jacket, alive and well, and we have no idea what he's thinking about Sweet Tooth. Is he pleased with him, or is he ashamed? We don't know. And so when we see, it could go either way. Both routes could work with this story. But the idea of getting a chance to see Yellow Jacket reunite with Sweet Tooth is too irresistible, especially to see what will happen with Sweet Tooth as a character with his arc. But a lot of people are hope to see that we're going to see Dark Tooth, the big ass motherfucking ice cream truck that Charlie Kane drove at the end of Twisted Metal 2. I don't know. We'll see. But I hope that comes out, because that would just be freaking cool. But speaking of characters who should be driving certain vehicles, Stu. Stu really has grown as a character, but there's one thing that has been missing. In the games, Hammerhead is not supposed to be a student driver vehicle. It's supposed to be a freaking monster truck. So it would be kind of awesome to see Stu kind of ascend to the point where he ends up getting behind the wheel of a freaking monster truck, as is wont to be with Hammerhead. The one thing that I would love to see happen as a big cliffhanger for the season, and this is another reason why I hope Dark Tooth happens, because it would be great that in the climax, Sweet Tooth shows up in Dark Tooth and with Charlie Kane in tow, and a big battle ensues that results in Sweet Tooth deposing Calypso and taking over the Twisted Metal tournament, because that's what happens at the beginning of Twisted Metal 4. And what better way to kick off season 4 than basically doing the story from Twisted Metal 4? That would be freaking great. So that, honestly, that would just be an incredible cliffhanger. It would derail Calypso's plans, and it would put him on the same playing field as John Quiet and the rest. That would be so freaking cool. So those are the things I would love to see in Twisted Metal season 3. What are some things that you would love to see in the upcoming season of Twisted Metal? Stitch this, leave it in the comments, whatever you want to do. But that is why I'm so freaking excited. If you have not watched Twisted Metal yet, it is on Peacock. Check that shit out.